Breaking news. Shepard Smith reporting live from the Fox News deck.
And that breaking news, the feds are planning to file corruption charges against the New Jersey Democratic Senator Robert Menendez. That's according most recently to the reporting of the Wall Street Journal after CNN broke the story earlier. The Justice Department reportedly plans to accuse him of using his Senate office to push the interests of a Democratic donor and friend in exchange for gifts. In other words, a quid pro quo. We're told the case centers on the senator's relationship with an eye doctor from Florida. The charges reportedly involved plane trips that the senator took back in 2010 to the Dominican Republic, all on that supporter's dime. After a federal investigation into those trips went public, Senator Menendez paid back tens of thousands of dollars. The senator called his failure to properly disclose those trips an oversight. Senator Menendez is one of the highest profile Hispanic senators in all of Congress. He's the ranking member on the Senate Foreign Relations Committee and its former chairman. He's also one of the president's most prominent Democratic critics. He has disagreed with President Obama's decision to ease the trade embargo against Cuba and hold direct nuclear negotiations with Iran, among other things. Juan Williams is here, a Fox News political analyst. On the surface of this, when you dive into the details, it looks serious.
It's very serious. It's high profile, high stakes poker on both sides. Let's start with the Obama administration. Eric Holder signing off is what's triggered these news reports today. The prosecutor wants to bring these charges, had to get the top level law enforcement officer in the country to say it's okay, because Senator Menendez is a sitting senator. It's almost unprecedented to go after a sitting senator. Very difficult, in large part because of something that happened last week, Shepard, which is that the Third Circuit was looking at whether or not that senator is protected by what's called the speech and debate clause of the Constitution that would allow that senator's deliberations to remain private and not be used as evidence in a prosecution against him.
The allegation is this donor from Florida, and a big donor at that, gave him trips on a plane and other sorts of...
well, prostitution was mentioned at one point.
Yeah, prostitutes was one of the accusations in the Dominican Republic.
Right.
And in exchange, Senator Menendez made the case for his company, in essence, did his work for him. And the allegation is, the charge, I suppose, will be that he did one thing in exchange for the other thing, a
quid pro quo. Exactly. And so you have two situations here. One is that this doctor had investments in ports in the Dominican Republic, and that Menendez was trying to push some business through those ports that would have benefited the doctor, but also that the doctor had been accused of Medicare fraud by the Medicare and Medicaid services of the U.S. government, and Menendez tried to stop that prosecution.
None of these accusations are new. We've known about them for a long time. Senator Menendez has fought like hell, too.
He has fought, and he has fought to say that this is unfair, that he is being politicized and being made into a political target. The question is, you got a Democratic administration versus now a Democratic sitting senator, and that's why the things that you said at the very top, Shep, about the Iran controversy, the Cuba controversy, play large here. This is a big gamble. That's why I say it's a big political poker game on both sides, with high risk not only for Senator Menendez, but for the Obama administration.
Now, the criticism of the administration suggesting that maybe this is some sort of retribution is predictable.
Right.
But the timeline is really not good for the people predicting that.
That's the problem.
Because the fight against the Cuba thing, it's Senator Robert Menendez. Of course he's going to fight against that. The Iran thing came after these accusations in 2010. It's all after the fact.
All after the fact. And that's why the action last week in the Third Circuit, which was unintentionally made public for a while before they got it back under seal, is evidence. This has been taking place since the 2010. I mean, remember, Menendez was head of the Democratic Senatorial Campaign Committee. He's a high-ranking Democrat, loved, admired, even if he is controversial, by Democrats. And this was all taking place way back in 2010. So it's before he has acted as a stop on the Cuba deal or the Iran deal.
And it would probably be one of the last, if not the last, major action of the Attorney General.
Of Eric Holder.
Yes. I mean, of Eric Holder, that's right.
Yeah, as Attorney General. So, yeah, this, because he's gone pretty much, I would say, in a week or two. Loretta Lynch, who's his successor, looks to be on a fast track at this point. There was some question about immigration, part of the immigration debate, but that has, I think, cooled. Her prospects right now look like she's about to be approved. No.
Well, one Democrat suggested today they must have the goods, or believe they do, because to take this sort of a shot inter-party with a very high profile and a Hispanic from a very important voter bloc is a real big move.
It's a huge move, but again, I go back to what happened with the Third Circuit. Again, This is how deep. You know, people who are reacting to this as a flash of news are saying, oh, I can see maybe it's payback and all that. It's been going on since 2010. It's been in the courts, and this argument about what evidence you can use against a sitting U.S. senator is one that had to be resolved in order for the prosecution to feel that they could bring the case. And that's why then Eric Holder signs off in the last few hours, potentially to say, I think you've got a case if you can bring this evidence against Senator Menendez.
Wouldn't surprise me if we get some reaction, maybe some statements coming up, and if we do, we'll bring them. Juan, thank you.
You're welcome, Shepard.